Yes, here we go. The Southern River Band boys there. The lads out of Thornley. Mark Reings has brought his jacket down here. It must be cold outside, I tell you what. How are you, mate? You're on the Shelter FootyCast, Skeet.
Yes, Scully, good to be here. It is cold. This has been a cold morning, so no, we're a bit chilly, but got everything dressed as normal. So
straight out of bed.
You actually change. Like, some kids when they're 5 and 6 years of age, they just don't change their t-shirt for about a week and a half. That flag mantle top, you've had on for about 3 months.
Why would I change the flag mantle shirt? Top 4 Fremantle, going to be flag mantle very soon, Skeet. You'll be sitting here right here during finals and you'll be going, geez, I should have jumped on board.
Yeah, I'll give you a call while you're in Europe and see, giving your loyalty is so good.
I thought you were a bit, on something. So that's the problem, is it? I'm going to Europe and you're staying here. Is that the issue?
I'm genuinely jealous.
Very good. Shelter FootyCast. We get through a review and a preview Monday and Thursdays here. We do a bit of a West Australian theme, focus on the West Coast Eagles and the Freo Dockers. Thank God the West Coast Eagles will be off the table next week. We don't have to speak about them anymore, so it'll be a Fremantle podcast a little bit later on. You can find us on socials, Shelter FootyCast on Instagram. You can send us an email, footycast@shelterbrewing.com.au. We've always got a few prizes, a few slabs, a few things to give away in that realm. And you can watch us on YouTube. Shelter, born and brewed in Busselton. Skeet, let's get into it. Big moments of the round. There's a fair bit going on in coaching land at the moment. We've spoken about a little bit over the last couple of weeks. It seems like, I don't know why GWS has just vanished out of the equation. I haven't seen any report that says GWS still don't want Alistair Clarkson, and I haven't seen Alistair Clarkson say, I'm only deciding between North Melbourne and Essendon, but it seems like Media Land has narrowed the focus between North Melbourne and Essendon. Alistair Clarkson, answer should be this weekend. How do you see it playing out?
Yeah, well, the Giants, obviously he doesn't want to move to Sydney. That would seem the obvious reason that becomes a no play.
I think they're the best list out of those three. I would say if you had to pick those three, who could win a premiership in the next 5 years, I'd pick the Giants.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah, absolutely. But there is a concern about players leaving at the end of this season. This Saturday will be their final game together, really, as a group, because Taranto likely to go, amongst others. So they're going to have a list change again because their salary cap's a bit squeezy. Essendon, North Melbourne and the Bombers, even though they have just turned into a complete rabble, we know that with Paul Brasher going as president and of course, David Barham taking over as the new leader there.
Is he an interim president or he's the president now?
Oh, I think he's the president.
Right.
That's happened. He was already on the board.
Right.
And, of course, he used to be involved with media at Channel 10 and briefly at 7 during the cricket rights, etc. He was in charge of that. So, I think the push from Essendon to get Clarko will win, because if you're weighing up the two houses, Essendon and North Melbourne, even though you say Essendon's list, I think the infrastructure, the power, the money, the support base, I think gives Essendon a very tangible advantage over North Melbourne.
Something that doesn't get spoken about, and I have this at very, a good level of information. There's only a certain amount of clubs that can guarantee a coach's contract, right? So some clubs, like North Melbourne, can't guarantee. You can sign a 5-year deal, but it's not guaranteed. They can't guarantee it year to year because of their finances. West Coast are one that can guarantee a contract. So they say 4-year deal, $1 million a year. There's $4 million and it's guaranteed. And if we sack you, you're still getting the $4 million. That's how West Coast operate. I think Hawthorn's in the same boat. I think Collingwood is in the same boat. I reckon Essendon might be in the same boat, and North Melbourne certainly isn't. So money will come into play here for Alistair Clarkson. He will want to go to a club where he's guaranteed to get a crack at it. He's guaranteed money-wise, but also contractually that if he signs a 3 or 4 year deal, he's guaranteed to get a go. I will say, though, like I don't see... I would find it difficult for either of those sides to win a premiership in the next 3 or 4 years.
No, you're probably right. You feel sorry, and we do this all the time. I felt sorry for David Teague, the way he was publicly hung out to dry by Carlton last year. You feel sorry for Ben Rutten, who knows that he's a dead man walking in coaching circles, really, at the moment, and he has to go through the charade of having a training session playing against the Tigers this weekend, and then most likely on Monday he's out of a job.
Do you feel sorry for players at the end of the year when they're playing? Maybe they've had a discussion in the last couple of weeks that they won't be on the list and we're going to look at trading you, and I'm just, not you personally, but do you think people feel sorry for players? Because the same thing happens to players.
No, I do. I know it sounds strange, but it is someone's livelihood. It's their job. And we don't, sometimes the public don't see it that way.
Yeah, head coach, get him out. We want to win.
Yeah, and look, it's a real personal toll that it takes on someone in that such a public way as well. So no, I've got sympathy for players who not sure of their future heading into round 23 or whatever it is. So yeah, it works both sides of the equation for sure.
Because there'll be players, I know for a fact, there'll be players West Coast 100%. They're going to have a lot of list changes this year that are playing this week in Geelong. God forbid.
So it's the last time they'll play together as a group. As a group, you suspect there's going to be change.
Yep, either at AFL level with that club. Who knows? So there's a lot of pressure on players around the country this week as well. So tip a little liquor out, tip a little shelter out for the boys around the country. What about the one you brought across the table just before we started here?
Yeah, no, I've just...
umpire land.
Yeah, there's... Carolyn Wilson had this on Footy Classified last night, so it's just coming out of the east, but the list sizes for umpires expected to go from 34 to 42, which doesn't mean much in the scheme of things, except they're talking 4 umpires...
Every game?
A match. Now, whether that comes to pass remains to be seen. Oh, yeah, I've got a question mark around this. I think what they're trying to do is trying to get some of the umpires that are there are not old, but they're certainly at the latter stages of their career. So they're trying to keep them in the game by having extra 3 umpires joining them, but also maybe helping them teach some of the
fast track some development.
Yeah, possibly. So look, in that sense, it's a good idea from the outside, but gee whiz, 4 umpires, and we talk about inconsistency, and it's like you, myself, Dan and Damo, for instance, being umpires in one game, how we interpret decisions, heaven forbid, would be quite different, don't you think?
Yeah.
So it does bring up the question of more inconsistencies potentially from umpires.
It's sort of like the double-edged sword, right? Because if you don't do something like this, umpiring quality, I think this year I think there's been some poor umpiring, and I think they'd probably be the first to admit that, and that's because it's very hard to get experience at the top level, and it's a different type of footy. Umpiring at Waffle or State League footy is very different to umpiring at the AFL level, and if there's only 32 or 36, that's not many people for opportunity, is it? So at least on one side of the story, it gives people more opportunity to see at the top level, but like you said, 4 umpires... Let's just hope if that does go ahead, it doesn't mean more free kicks. It doesn't, behind the play or picking things out that aren't there.
But let's go back just very briefly. You're a former player. Why don't we see more former players umpiring? Say if the money was really good. I know sometimes physically your body's cooked, but like for yourself, you could theoretically become an umpire. Why is that not on the radar?
We asked that to D. Margetts, and it's too hard. Umpiring's bloody hard. Like it's the same amount of running training as a player. You got to go down there and train 3 days a week. You got to be in peak physical condition.
So the commitment's the same.
Yep. And then you get the public scrutiny. You get paid a tenth of the fee.
No selfies in that one. No cashy jobs on a weekend.
No one likes the umpires, mate. And so there's not a lot going for it. I mean, it keeps you involved in football, but the reason is it's too bloody hard. And I don't know if people realise that, but umpiring is a hard gig. So maybe that'll help. I don't know. It's a good thing to bring across the table. Let's go with this. Will Schofield, Mark Reddings, Showdown FootyCast. Let's get into the West Coast Eagles, Fremantle Dockers games of the week. Fremantle play GWS this week with a chance to jump into the top 4. They play Optus Stadium. 11:45. No, they don't play Optus Stadium. They play GWS.
They play in Canberra.
Don't look at me like that.
Yeah, Optus Stadium's done.
Don't look at me like that. I've got a lot of things running through my mind. If someone writes fucking Optus on the fucking run sheet, I'll read it. Okay? Charlie, I know you're listening.
I know exactly what you're thinking of. You're thinking of, okay, what sort of vino do I have when I get to Europe? Do I have a beer?
Do I bring my shelters with me?
Do I have a prawn cocktail? I mean, what do I have over here in Europe? I don't know.
What is a prawn cocktail?
Anyway, something fancy.
Fremantle.
So it's in Canberra.
Fremantle GWS in Canberra, very polar opposite to Europe. Canberra.
And by the way, they haven't won an away game in the final round since 2003.
Freo?
No, that's 19 years ago.
It's very close to 20. Yeah. Wow,
That's extraordinary.
That's a stat.
Yeah, who got that one? Is that you?
Yeah, no, it's Charlie, the same person that butchered where it is. Now, Fremantle play GWS with a chance to go into the top 4. They haven't won since 2003. Do they win this game, don't they?
They most likely do. I'm a bit worried about their goal kicking this week. Well, you have to be.
They don't have any. Well, they don't have any tall players.
They've got no forwards. Taberner's out.
Lob's
Tracy's out. Lob is very
mark.
much questionable. And I'd almost think, you know what? Don't play him if he's not right. Just give him 2 weeks.
If it's an AC, 2 weeks will do wonders for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Fife comes back in, so maybe he's the go-to man.
Has to be. He's not playing in the middle this year.
And Logue, Obviously,
What's
he didn't train a lot yesterday,
Right.
so there's a bit of a question mark over him. So it's a bit of a banana peel game. They should be winning. I mean, the motivation for Fremantle compared to the Giants is chalk and cheese, albeit the Giants would like to finish off the season on a high. But, yeah, the motivation is massive. And bear in mind, it's 11:45 game on a Saturday. Sydney to play Sunday. Carlton, Collingwood to play Sunday. There's that, because obviously Melbourne, Brisbane played Friday night, so they'll know one of those teams will most likely
They'll be
lose.
jumping them.
Yeah, jumping them, exactly.
So there'll be a couple of chances for them to jump up.
Yeah, and they won't know what's to come with the other two games. Just win your game and then just sit back and hopefully it all transpires.
I heard Justin Longmuir say that they're treating this as the most important game of the year, which is cliche 101, but it is really. They need to win this game. None of these things will happen unless they get the victory done. Flag mantle, if you're watching along, will not happen if they don't get this done. I think they do get it done. I'm picking Fremantle. First win away from home in 20 years.
Michael Walters, 200 games. He had look, last year or so there's been some question marks about his form, about his future. Some signs in the last month, I think, that he's back playing some really nice footy.
He looks settled in his role. I think with senior players, it's really important to give them a really defined role. Give him a pat on the back still when they're doing well. So if he is just small forward, he used to play fifth mid and used to go in up around the ball. He doesn't do that anymore. He just plays forward. This is what your objectives are: kick a goal or two, assist your teammates, play for your teammates, tackle, chase, and you do that, you stay in the team. I think bringing it back even for guys that have played 200 games actually helps. And he just looks like he's playing clear of mind. Without knowing, speaking to him, that's what it looks like to me. And he's been going really well. GWS, on the other hand, I don't know why they're falling out of the race for.
They've been
Clarkson.
bad the last fortnight.
Nah.
Beat the Bombers, who
after this spray that was given by McVeigh.
Yeah, true. And they came close to knocking over the Bulldogs. So their form hasn't been that bad. By the way, 26 disposals will mean 8,000 career disposals for David Mundy, should he do that. I think they're only the 11th player to achieve that milestone. So he's just racks. He's been to the moon and back with K's. We've worked out everything with Barrett, but the end is coming. He's got at least 2 more games to go.
Who are you picking?
Dockers to win. But again, I'm a bit concerned about the goals, but surely they get it done.
Home final guaranteed. They'll finish in the top 6. So it's either home final in elimination or home final after a qualifying final. Is that correct?
Yeah, so
right?
qualifying final if they make the top 4, and then after that
they can either win or lose that qualifying. If they win, they'll get a home prelim.
Yeah, they'll definitely get at least one. Yeah.
Good. So you can wear your flag mantle gear down there, backchatpodcast.com.au/merch. West Coast v Geelong. I don't know how West Coast ended up playing in Geelong the last round of the year. It seems like every year they're down there. Last 2 games they've lost by 97 and 93 points. Absolutely butchered down there. It's just the arse end of the world sometimes, Geelong. I'm from Geelong, I can say that. But it's an incredibly hard place to play footy. Spoke to Tom Hawkins about this. Why? Why is it such a big home ground advantage? Yes, there's a home crowd. Yes, there's the travel element. You fly to Melbourne, you get an hour on the bus. It's extra travel.
It's the ground, isn't it?
It's the ground. It's the ground. They train at the ground every. They don't train there once a week like they do at Optus here. They train there every day. They do captain's run. They do walk jogs. They do all their touch out there. There's wind permutations there, but it's the shape of the ground. Skinny pockets. It's a wide ground though, and it's just a weird setup that you don't see anywhere else in the country, and they play it the better out of everyone. The way they play the corridor, the way they defend behind it, and then the way they attack. They're not going to have Jeremy Cameron this week, though, which is a big out for them.
Or Reece Stanley.
Yes.
So the question is, I've had this debate with Carl on radio. He thinks they'll probably just, a bit like Ross Lyon, rest a heap of players. Interviewed Nigel Lappin last night. And look, there are some players like Menegola who need some footy. I think Parfitt. There's about 4 or 5 that definitely need some footy. Mitch Duncan may not play. He's a bit sore.
Again, he missed last week, didn't he?
Yeah.
Right. So he could miss up. Yeah.
Look, there are players, Nigel said, like Joel Selwood, that could miss this game and still, play qualifying final and play 2 games in 5 weeks and not be an issue. But I don't think you want to be.
You were right about that. Yeah, you don't. I don't think you want too many players playing 2 games in 5 weeks.
No, it just doesn't sit well. But Paddy Dangerfield, who's had some calf issues, he will play. We think 300 matches. But look, I don't know if you know him well or not well.
Not that well. No.
I like the way he goes about. I mean, he's obviously a great footballer, but he's got a happy demeanour. No, I'm a rap for him.
He's it's been funny. Like he's not enigma's the wrong word, but he's sort of like goes about it and puts the team on his back for a long period. He just seems to have been doing the same thing for a long time. Like, just a really great player. I certainly look at what he does in the contest. But probably this year a little bit. Maybe it's because he's been a bit injured, but it does seem like he hasn't been trying to be the Superman as much. He's been trying to play his role, which is what Geelong needs. Geelong has had star players for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Like, they have had this core group, Selwood, Dangerfield, Hawkins. They've had these guys, but they haven't been able to execute come finals together as a team. They haven't. They went through that patch of qualifying finals where they'd lost 7 of their last 8 or something like that.
And they'll be embarrassed what happened in the prelim final, albeit there was some illness in the camp, but they got absolutely towed up by Melbourne.
This group should have won premierships in the last decade, and they haven't.
A lot of should have, but they're hard to win, as you
I
know. As well as anyone. And obviously playing a lot of footy at Geelong, as opposed to the MCG, which were their next 2 games, if that's the case. And the Eagles, by the way, Nick Nat, will he play? Will he travel? And also, we know that Alec Waterman's
done. He's had surgery.
Did I say Alec Waterman? Is that right?
You said, but it's Jake.
Jake, of course. Yes, I knew that. Jake
Alec plays for Essendon.
Yes, that's why I paused. Jake Waterman has had knee surgery, and Andrew Gaff's a bit sore as well. So we talk about not risking players at Geelong, but what's the point in taking blokes over that?
Apparently they can't get accommodation in Geelong. That's what I heard.
Oh, the Eagles.
Yeah, so they're flying in on the Friday night and playing Saturday. They usually come in Thursday, Friday. So apparently no accommodation on the Thursday.
So they're staying where?
They're staying where they usually stay, but there was nothing on the Thursday night. So
isn't this booked in March or something?
Yeah, I think that's a furphy, but that's what I heard. I did hear that. So they're coming in a day. I think what's more than likely is, all right, let's spend as less time in Geelong as possible. Get in there. Hey, look, stranger things have happened, Skate.
Give us a margin. Don't worry about give me a margin.
Not many stranger things have happened, but stranger things happen. Look, I think they'd be happy within 10 goals, honestly. For what's gone on down there the last couple of years, with better sides, with sides that are not challenging, but at least competitive, they've lost by almost 100 points. So 10 goals for me.
All I want to see is what we saw last week in the Derby. Bit of get up and go. Tim Kelly returns to the side.
Yep.
But I think I agree. It's 8, 9, 10 goals, just regulation win.
They couldn't win, could they?
No. Okay. No, well, that being said, there's no issue if Geelong loses, is there? It doesn't affect them one iota, but I think every football team just likes to keep momentum and keep playing good footy. You don't want to flirt with form, as they say.
Yes, correct. Tom Barras, just a tiny little one to finish on. I've pumped him up for All-Australian. I don't know how that's going to go, but I hope he does. And he'll get a Tom Hawkins, so it'll be a good test for him.
Yep.
Very good. Will Schofield, Mark Reddings, Showdown FootyCast. Brisbane and excuse me, that's a cough for you. Can you read that one out, please, Kate?
It's Brisbane and Melbourne at the Gabba tomorrow night.
Big game.
Arguably the biggest game of the home and away season. Well, for these two clubs it is, because top 4 becomes either yay or nay.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? So the Lions got such a good record up there. I reckon they've won 35 out of 37 matches up there during home and away footy. They've lost some finals up there, but their form up there is impeccable.
This is why the rolling schedule's a good thing for the last round, because they've been able to put this in later. Sunday has got some ripping footy to keep everyone engaged, and Friday night footy, this is one of the best games of the round, because top 4's on the line.
Mate, I'll be drinking shelter at about 3 tomorrow afternoon. I'll put some multis on. I'll be up and about by about 5:50. I don't know. What about you? You're going to be engaged?
Are you a pseudo Brizzy fan?
No, I've got a bit of Queensland.
Yeah.
Me, my family's
Pseudo.
Gold Coast.
Pseudo.
I wouldn't say I'm a massive fan, but yeah, I don't mind the Lions.
Yeah.
The Gabba.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You almost like the Gabba, where it's played.
It's as a venue, it's a dive.
I was going to say it's the worst in the AFL.
Oh yeah, good.
It is the worst ground in the AFL. It's the worst facilities for players.
Yep.
It's a shocking ground, and a grand final was played there 2 years ago.
I know. How do you line this one up?
Well, I think I know you haven't been too strong on Melbourne, but I do look at Melbourne and think they have experience. They know how to do it. They know how to come together. I do think they're the team that people are kind of thinking, they're fighting for top 4 spot. They may not even make top 4, but I do think this is the team that can challenge Geelong, is Melbourne.
Yes, but we're all waiting. Like the back half of the season, we've seen it spasmodically, and that can happen with a grand final team. That's why winning back to back is so hard to put together 2 years and time your run to perfection.
I mean, they do bloody well to beat Carlton last week, let's be honest. I mean, they shouldn't have won that game, and they find a way.
Carlton shouldn't have lost it.
Yeah, correct. But that's a little bit of the Collingwood mindset. Oh, how they're winning all these small games. You've got to win them.
Yep.
You have to actually get yourself in a position to win them. So there's not going to be a lot of changes for either the Lions or the Demons. Adams, who's important to the Brisbane structure, may miss again. He missed last week. Melbourne will be unchanged. I'm going to pick Melbourne in this one. It's going to be a bloody tight game though, and Brisbane will be playing for everything. So it'll be like a finals game.
Yeah,
for finals.
Yeah, look, I'm going Brisbane because of where they're playing. I'm not convinced about Brisbane at the moment either. To be totally, put it this way, I think Melbourne's got more upside in the finals.
Well, there's a reason they're both fighting for top 4 spot. There's a reason that they're not first and second.
Yeah,
right.
That says that they're still top 4 potential. So they're having good years.
Yep.
But Brisbane last week, just a little, not saying flaky, but they have little moments where you just wonder whether they are the real deal. Outside the Gabba particularly. This is where they play good footy. It's going to be a crack. I'll just to go the opposite way. I think Brisbane at home.
I thought you said don't pick just for the sake of picking against each other. You're having a go at me on last Thursday for it.
No. You honestly believe Melbourne will win?
Yes.
And I think, and look, I think it's a 50-50 game. I've sort of tossed and turned on this. So I'm going with the Lions at home. This, as you say, this is going to be huge. Whichever team loses this, in my mind, can't win the flag.
Wow.
Wow. It's not that big a statement.
I guess in my mind I was thinking if Brisbane don't make top 4, I think they're a side that actually could do some damage from 5th.
No, they can't.
Okay.
No, they can't win in the MCG, Scully.
Yeah, but
they've got to win. I mean, they've got to win 4 games, don't they, from outside the top 4. Now, and away from home, I can't see them doing it.
Okay, there you go. Mark Reddings can't win it if they don't win this game. Very good. North Melbourne v Gold Coast Saturday. What's that? North Melbourne Gold Coast.
Oh, mate.
It sounded like you're ready for a big game here.
No, I'm thinking, how do we talk this up?
There's nothing to play for in the game. Wooden spoon for North. You could throw that out there.
Yeah.
The wooden spoon. So if they win this game, they don't win the wooden spoon, potentially.
Absolutely. No, well, not potentially. Let's be honest. They win this game.
So West Coast lose.
Yes.
What about if West Coast lose by 100 points, percentage-wise? I wonder what the percentage differential between Gold Coast and North Melbourne is. North Melbourne and West Coast is.
I'll let you work that out.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about the Gold Coast.
But not a lot.
No.
4% between them.
No. What are we thinking about North Melbourne?
Well, I think they're butchering the Horn Francis thing, to be honest. Horn Francis played in the VFL last week after missing an ice bin. I saw Lee Adams speak about him in the media publicly. He was asked directly, will he be coming back in? Is he a guarantee back in? And he was saying, he's not a guarantee back in. We'll have to assess his form and assess the rest of the team. Let's get real. This is the worst side in the competition, North Melbourne, one of, and they are not playing their number 1 draft pick.
Bizarre. We said this all year. There's just something missing with the young man and North Melbourne. And I just wonder. Look, Gold Coast, they were very poor. In fact, they've been poor since Stewie Dew re-signed a contract. So that's a bit unfortunate. They showed nothing against the Cats, but then again, the Cats are the best in the business.
Let's move on. Who are you picking?
Going with the Gold Coast Suns. Just quickly.
Yes.
Will Clarko look at this game? I mean,
I keep forgetting Clarko wants to coach this team.
Why? No, I'm serious. Why? Is it the money?
Is that I would think it's something to do with Tassie, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be the Tassie element?
Possibly, but gee, that's
because he's been very tied into that over
a lot of what ifs in that. Because you're saying that North Melbourne's going to get a Tassie.
Maybe.
No. In talent, you can't go there as Clarko and think this is a 2-year fix.
No.
So anyway, I'm going Gold Coast. Who are you tipping? Pick North just for the sake of it.
No, I don't. I don't want to. Gold Coast. I'm not doing it. I can't do it.
No.
Because it means West Coast win the spoon. I don't want that to happen.
No.
Essendon play Richmond Saturday at the MCG. Saturday night, big game here. Given Richmond guaranteed final spot, but they're playing with a bit of a chance to jump up into home finals. I think they can get to 6th if they win. Can they get to 6th? Or is that outrageous?
I'm not sure about that. But what they have done and where they finished,
They cannot. That's an absolute lie. Just lied to you.
Where they finished in the 8 is irrespective. They're playing good footy and they have got momentum. They've got some stars missing, but they're still showing exactly what makes them the most dangerous team outside the top 4 in my mind.
So the last game and this game are the two Clarkson potential teams, right? Essendon and North Melbourne. So maybe Clarko will have a bit busy Saturday arvo. Like, surely he's not making his mind up on how they play the last game of the season, though.
No, you're right.
And given Richmond will have more to play, you'd like to see Essendon front up and show something in this game, because effectively last week's game against Port Adelaide got their coach sacked.
Yep, exactly. It's just how they respond to the turmoil this week, the Bombers, is going to be fascinating, with Ben Rutten, most likely his last game. And it might also be the last game, but also the first game back for a long time for Michael Hurley, who had a bad hip infection, almost lost a leg, as we know. It's been a sad but almost an inspirational story, the fact that he's got to the point, having played some VFL, he should be selected this week. I think that would be, given what's at stake, the emotion's going to be all over the shop for the Bombers. Having him back in there, I think for Essendon fans will be a nice way to farewell him and say, mate, that's an outstanding job. A bit like Jason McCartney when he came back from the Bali bombings, played one game.
Yep.
Said sayonara, and that was a feel-good story as well.
Well, he's been almost a forgotten piece, hasn't he, really? Like, he was that guy that could go forward, could go back, a real central cog as a tall player, either forward or back, which they haven't had. They really haven't had that. So disappointing to see him retire, but congratulations on actually getting up and getting through a game. I'm sure in his mind that all he would have been working towards would be to play an AFL game. Yes, health, of course, trumps that, but as a player and as an athlete, he would have been working bloody hard to get there. So well done to Michael Hurley. I'm picking Richmond.
Yeah, Tigers. Lynch kicked 8 last week. Shea Bolton's in beautiful form, my man. So, no, Tigers.
We might need to get you a Shea Bolton jumper or something. Maybe do one of these up with Shea Bolton.
His kicking for goal's probably a little bit off, isn't it? But
Can you have a word to him?
Isn't he sort of wow factor? Do you agree on that?
Yeah, he's unbelievable. Love watching him.
Tigers.
Yeah, very good. Same. Port Adelaide v Adelaide, the showdown with nothing on the line. Robbie Gray to play his final game.
He's a gun.
Yeah.
Mate, he's a ripper. I just think he's one of the best small forwards of the last decade.
Which is strange, because he's not that quick.
No.
And I know that because I played on him. He doesn't have a 80-meter kick on him. He doesn't have all these star attributes.
So what makes him good?
Other than he's smart. He's an incredibly intelligent player. He's like one of those guys, you put Pendlebury in the same thing. Mark Lacroix was the same, that had not only a goal sense, but like an area sense. He didn't have to move fast to get his own space, whether that be on the lead against him. He didn't have to have you by 5 metres. He could just get a bit of space, or hold the space with one hand, or handballs without looking, or just all these things that can't be taught. They're pure footy sense, and he was like some of the best in the game. Plus, he was a clutch player. He was someone that I thought, looking in as an opposition player, if he had the ball in his hands, it was more than likely going to be a goal to the opposition. So
what about that goal and kick against Carlton at the Gabba on the boundary line, on the siren? That's the type of bloke he is, type of player. You thought, ball in hand. We know Dunstall and Lockett, and I thought Gary Buckenara as a kid was just a beautiful set shot. He was a guy that I always thought you could trust in a big moment to kick a clutch goal. But congratulations to him on a brilliant career. And
showdown, still a showdown.
Absolutely, yeah. And Adelaide's, they've won a couple in a row, beaten West Coast, North Melbourne, not huge names, but I think Port Adelaide sends Robbie out in winning style.
Wow, Port Adelaide to win? Yeah. What do you get? I'm going to go Adelaide.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm going to go Adelaide.
On what basis?
Nothing on the line. I think the showdown, Adelaide seem to be a side that gets up for it. I think they're a bit like Fremantle probably used to be. It maybe means a bit more to Adelaide than it does Port Adelaide. I don't know.
No, it's a home Port Adelaide game. They'll be winning.
Okay, very good. I can't wait for Adelaide to win that game. I'll let you know all about it. Hawthorn v Western Bulldogs, Sunday. So we move into the Sunday games. Launceston, I believe.
Yeah, UTAS Stadium.
Okay.
You know what UTAS stands for?
University of Tasmania.
Giddy up.
You're pretty happy with that, Skeet. Very good. First of...
Do you go to university, by the way?
Do I go to university?
Yeah.
Would you say yes or no?
I'd say definitely no.
You definitely didn't.
I didn't. I got U12. That was it, brother. I was out.
I did a little bit of a law degree.
Seriously?
Yeah.
You got to be covered then by miles.
Spare me. Don't surprise yourself.
A law degree?
Yeah, a bit of it. Yeah.
So why wouldn't you go back to it instead of sitting here talking shit with me?
Because I just love this is what I love to do, Skate. Talk with you, mate. Put the law degree in the bin, mate. This is exactly what I want to be doing here on the Shelter FootyCast. It actually is. I love it. Hawthorn, Western Bulldogs. Hawthorn, not so much. Western Bulldogs, I still think they're a chance to make the finals. A fair bit, I know I've been saying it, a fair bit needs to go well for them to get to finals. Now, they need to win, first of all, they need to win by probably 10 points or more. They need Carlton to lose by 10 points or more. So they need the points and the differential. I think all of those things can happen. They can beat the Hawthorn Hawks.
Hawks have really fallen away, haven't they?
Yep, they have.
In the last couple of months, or couple of weeks particularly. Dogs aren't playing great footy. They got across the line against the Giants, but their midfield, I think, will be good enough to take care of Hawthorn. Can Hawthorn cause a bit of trouble down there? They do. I think I've read a stat this week where the Bulldogs haven't beaten, not that they play there often, obviously, they haven't beaten the Hawks in Tassie for a long time.
It's not a nice place. It's not a nice place to play.
Why?
It's a really nice place.
Oh, it is a nice place.
I really like Launceston and grounds in Great Nick.
Yep.
It's a bit like Geelong. Like, it's not that the whole crowd's Hawthorn, which it kind of is, but it just feels foreign.
Out of your comfort zone?
Yeah, feels like, and especially for a Western Bulldogs side, who they're a skill side. They are a sort of in and under contested ball side at times, but they are a skill side. So it's not, conducive to great skills.
And Lonnie, if it's a bit cold and wet.
A little bit dewy, a little bit wet.
Going the Bulldogs.
Yeah, we go to the Bulldogs too, and I think they can play finals, which means this next game, Carlton v Collingwood, the last game of Sunday. Is it the last game? No, it's the middle game on Sunday at the MCG. This may be one of the biggest games of the year. There is so much on the line.
Crowd-wise, absolutely.
Yeah, but also just feeling-wise. I think everyone either loves or hates Carlton or Collingwood. Doesn't matter who you go for. The fact that Carlton need to win to play finals, the fact that Collingwood need to win to make top four, there couldn't be more on the line for both sides, and I think it's going to be a ripping game.
Yeah, I agree. And Collingwood, a couple of injury concerns to Goey, Ginnivan. So they're just off balance, I reckon, from what we saw at the SCG last week. And given what Sydney did, how they played that style of footy where they possessed the ball, they slowed the game down, I wonder whether Carlton, which may not be their normal style, whether that's something they'll look at for this week. So massive game, Paddy. Cripps, of course, gets to lead his side out there for the last game of the home and away season. They started 7-1, Carlton, or thereabouts. So this is, for Carlton supporters to get rolled, particularly by Collingwood in the last round and miss the finals, would be heartbreaking. But Collingwood's got the incentive as well to finish top four. Yeah, that's why I like this game. It's the first game, really. I mean, Brisbane, Melbourne, they both have something at stake. But this game here, they both have big things at stake. Chera may be back for Carlton, so that's a big in for them. I mean, what made them good at the start of the season was their breadth across their midfield, the ability to share the load, to share not just Patrick Cripps every time. He was playing bloody well. He was probably leading the Brownlow in the first 6 rounds, but it was because he had people in there with him. Hewitt was playing well. Chera was playing well. Walsh came in after a slow start with injury. So maybe a Chera back into the side creates an opportunity, but this will be, again, a finals game before finals. Yeah, absolutely. How many are they going to get to the MCG? You'd love to see 80, wouldn't you? I mean, if you're a Collingwood or Carlton fan and you're living in Melbourne, you go into that game. Isn't it any more than 80? I just would have thought. I mean, I'm just having a look at the weather. 100? For Sunday. Fine, 15 degrees. 15. That's okay. Yeah. 100? Oh, maybe not a hunch, but I reckon 90's a 100's grand final. So, yeah Anzac Days have had 90, 95. Yeah, it should be a rip-off. Yeah, I'll be watching. Who wins? Oh, I'm going Carlton. I think Carlton can... I liked a bit of what they did. I didn't see the game, of course, because we were doing the derby, but I reckon they might have just turned the season around a bit last week. As much as I want to see the Bulldogs make finals, I want Flagmantle to finish top four more, so Carlton needs to get this done. So I'll be cheering for Carlton on Sunday. I'm actually looking forward to this more than any other game over the weekend. Yep. So Carlton for mine. We're both on Carlton. Yeah, blue bag. Let's hope the game lives I think Collingwood's just maybe on the tiny slide. No. After you win a lot of games in a row, I think I said this before when Melbourne lost one. After you lose your first after 3 months, sometimes it's not automatic. The bounce back's very quick. So, look, I might be wrong, but going for Carlton. St Kilda, Sydney at the end of the weekend. This will have a bit on the line as well, given that Sydney sits above Fremantle. So Fremantle will potentially be sitting above them before this game. St Kilda needs to win to have any chance of playing finals. Somehow there's still a chance to play finals, St Kilda. They are. Don't look at me like that. Win by around 90 points in this game, and Carlton lose by around 50 points, and Bulldogs lose. St Kilda make finals. Mate, this just shows you where St Kilda's having a review of their footy department and everything. This is the latest club that's coming out and having a review of their footy department or how they're operating. So it shows you that Brett Ratton and his team, they in turn, I think, were 5-1 at the start of the season. So they've fallen away big time in the last 2 or 3 months. Just haven't looked like it. They're aging. I mean, Dan Hanbury came back, but of course
he's retiring.
He came back briefly, but he's retiring. That's done.
Yep.
Bradley Hill, question marks over whether he wants to go to a 4th AFL club.
Does he?
There's the question mark as to where he's going to be next year.
Right.
Yeah, they're not playing good enough footy. And Sydney, and I know you've been big on them for a long time, they're just humming along beautifully. They will be winning this, and they'll be winning it, I think, pretty comfortably at Marvel Stadium.
I do too. Sydney win this quite easily. Unfortunately for St Kilda, your season is done and dusted. Game of the weekend to watch. There's a couple. Brisbane, Melbourne will get you started. But I think Collingwood, Carlton, especially here in Western Australia, there'll be a lot on the line for Freo fans watching on. But as a footy spectacle, I think this will be one of the most watched games all year.
Yeah, no question about that. I don't think we've had a Carlton-Collingwood game mean so much for, I don't know.
Don't take me back to the 70s.
No, but for...
I think Wayne Harms tapping the ball back into the grand final.
No, but for years. It's been, a decade. I can't think of... Because Carlton's been no good. Yep. Collingwood sort of has been...
Was good when Carlton were no good, but then they were no good at stages.
So bring it on. This is... And, the AFL and Channel 7 and everyone broadcasting are going giddy up.
Will Schofield, Mark Reddings here on the Shelter FootyCast. Bit of PTI to finish off the preview of round 23, the last round of the year, the last PTI of the regular season before we get into finals. How about this one, Skate? Fremantle will make the top 4. Flagmantle. Flagmantle will make the top 4.
And you're saying this, now just for Fremantle fans, just explain what scenario you think will happen for them to make the top 4.
Okay, they win.
Yep.
Brisbane or Melbourne lose.
Doesn't matter that one game.
Carlton win against Collingwood. So they make it. That's all they need. They jump, Collingwood and... have I said that wrong?
No, that's right.
That's right, isn't it? Yeah, they jump Collingwood.
They only need one of Collingwood or Sydney to lose. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. So then they've got the fallback of Sydney losing to St Kilda.
Well, they're not losing to St Kilda. They're not losing. But your argument, obviously taking no here, but that makes it difficult because I've tipped Carlton to win.
Yes,
so I've got I'm in a bit of a corner here. So that's my happiness insurance because I want them to make top 4 as well.
Yes.
But I just, Collingwood probably, you can just see them.
I could see Collingwood winning.
Breaking Docker's hearts. Look, there's been a couple of occasions, even last weekend, Carlton's in front by 7 points with 3 minutes to go, which would have really helped Fremantle in their top 4 bid. They get rolled. There's been a couple of moments where they thought, but bottom line is, Fremantle have got to take care of their own business, and then
they do.
Hopefully it turns their way. But
which is why that's the language coming out of Fremantle this week is most important game because none of these things matter unless they get the job done against GWS, which they haven't done since 2003, away from home. Not GWS, but
in general,
in the last round.
Yeah.
You gave me that start.
Yeah, no,
don't raise your eyebrows at
me. They've won a home and away game since 2003. Giants aren't sort of in the mix there, but
Yep. So exactly what I said. Essendon, despite some lucky wins, have been the worst side this season. Essendon are the worst side this season.
I told you when they got beaten by the Eagles, they were putrid. I thought,
you came in here furious because they were just absolute.
They were terrible. But I'm going to take a composite view here because I think, even though they've had injuries, there's been COVID, not too many people. In fact, I don't know anyone would have the West Coast Eagles finishing second last or potentially last.
Yep.
So with their list, and I know they've had so many injuries, for me, I think they have been very disappointing with their output, their form. And it's not so much the losing, the style that they lost for so many weeks, for me, and we saw they got beaten by 4 goals by the Dockers last week, but you walked away thinking, no, they had some skin in the game, they really had a crack. There have been times this year where I don't think that the players as a group can walk away thinking they had a fully committed effort.
I would love to agree with you, but I'm not going to because this is PTI. That's fine. West Coast Eagles fighting for the wooden spoon. But I think Essendon have been the worst side in the competition. They make finals last year. Just remember, West Coast did make finals last year. So although maybe people didn't expect them to be wooden spoon, I don't know why you expect them to leap up from last year. They were going downwards.
Mate, they won 2 games.
Yeah.
No one thought they were going to win. I mean,
they've still got their coach, don't they? Because Essendon don't. They've sacked their coach after 2 years at the helm. They're sacking him, and it's going to be an absolute shit show if Alistair Clarkson picks North Melbourne and Essendon don't have a coach. Has anyone thought about that? because North Melbourne don't have a coach. And so if Clarkson goes to Essendon, well, North Melbourne don't have a coach.
But also, you're right, though. If he goes to North Melbourne, Essendon essentially have put Rutten in this
Exactly. He's not coaching there next year. It's literally untenable, his position. So that's their fault because they've shit the bed at board level. They're running. I wouldn't want to go there if I was Clarkson. They don't know what they're doing. They got no idea. They've got rid of Worsfold. They've got rid of Rutten. They got rid of Knights. They got rid of Hurd. He got rid of himself. Like, why would you want to go there as a coach? So Essendon, and then put that behaviour as at club level onto the field. And they've played like absolute shite this year, and they've been the worst side. Yes, they've had some lucky wins, not fighting for wooden spoon, but I haven't liked watching them all year.
Yeah, no, I can't argue with most
Very
of that.
good.
You got very fired up about that one.
Yeah, I just don't like. I don't rate what's happened there. I don't. Yeah.
Why does it happen often? Footy clubs happen this way all the time. There's so many times you think, oh, they've seen how Carlton did it last year. This will be different.
They've got to. You got to have good culture. It doesn't matter what players you have. Doesn't matter really like who's putting it all together. If it's not gelling and people aren't coercive inside the organisation, then it doesn't work.
It's what is it? The front office. Once you've got your admin sorted,
yep.
Often
Flow
that
down.
means that it flows on.
Very good. We're finishing up. Last one. Listener question. This is at, we got an email, which is shelter at footycast. No, it is footycast at shelterbrewing.com.au. Send in your questions. We'll ask Skeet these ones. This is a good one for you, Skeet. Hey, guys, loving the podcast. The WA-focused footy preview and review is just what I need after I've had busy weekends and can't watch all the games. Lucky Mark Reynings is watching them all for you. Just wondering if you're going to keep it going through the AFLW season. Hoping for an improved season from the Eagles this year. From Ben, I'll answer. We are going to keep this going. This will be a weekly show. We're going to keep going through finals. Obviously, the AFLW will start up during finals.
It starts next week.
Correct. So we'll start a bit of coverage through the AFLW through here. Both of us will be covering a little bit of, I think, maybe during the year as the girls go on there. So
yeah, it'll be AFLW. There'll be obviously we're a bit biased here. NFL season starts, so we're big into that. The NBA, the NBL,
Big Bash coming into it.
We'll cover anything that's sporting related. Absolutely, jump in and have a chat.
We will get to the end of the AFL season though. We'll do some Brownlow stuff. We'll do some trade stuff. Try not to be too trade radio about it. I don't. Sometimes I don't like that. Well, I mean, Brad Hill, where's he going? And throw out 6 different clubs.
I'm not sure we're smart enough for that anyway.
Very good. But to answer your question, Ben, we will keep this going. Absolutely love it here on the Shelter FootyCast. That's pretty much done and dusted, Skate. You can follow us on socials, which is Shelter FootyCast across Instagram. FootyCast at shelterbrewing.com.au is the email. Watch us on YouTube. All of our links in the bio. I don't know what you're going to do with that jacket as you go out, but hopefully keep nice and warm.
Oh, it's cold. And good luck to Freo. Let's hope they get the top 4.
Flag Mantle.